everybody, and welcome into today's episode of the Top Cut Yu-Gi-Oh! Podcast. My name is Sunny, and I'm here with my co-host, Caleb.
I'm always here, just in the background, staring.
Always watching. Always listening.
I see you. Okay, but no, let's...
We want to start out today with a huge thank you to all of our patrons, including a couple of new ones. So a big thank you to Austin Johnson, Kane Martin, Mocha, Myth Oceanus, Pig, Scuzz Daddy, Aaron Gardner, Adil Saeed, Anthony Leela, Mountain Man, Owen Alvarado, Jeremy Drysdale, Ray Powell, and Sunny Sweet. Thank you all so much for the wonderful support. We could not do it without you, as I'm sure you've all heard many times. And a huge thank you to all of the $5 and $10 patrons who get a bonus episode every week. So if you want to get that bonus episode and hear our series that we're doing on the side where we review and talk about every set and every product in the game's history, be sure to check us out.
In chronological order.
Yep. So we started at LOB and we're moving forward one by one. And then for those interested, if you want to get a live stream once a month, be sure to sign up at the $10 tier, which is going to get you that. And I'm thinking we're going to be adding more tiers soon, but we can neither confirm nor deny that at this point. So, I do want to also be sure to suggest to everybody to please join the Discord server. There's a ton of really great, very cool people in there, and there's a ton of cool stuff happening there. And we also want to ask that you follow us on Twitter. The Twitter account is where you get our quick live reactions to all of the newest news and notes of the day, and you can find everything that we say on there early. So, let's go ahead and get on into the episode. We do have some stuff to talk about today. We've got the last of the major set reveals. So we have all the Floowandereze to talk about.
And all their rarities. All the new world premiere cards. So those will be the TCG exclusives. What else we got?
That's actually pretty much it as far as news is concerned. But I also do want to take some time to talk about something that I think a lot of people have had on their mind, but not necessarily been at the front of their minds. I want to take some time today to talk about Crossout Designator. So we've been talking about this for the last few days, and Crossout Designator is a really interesting card. So for those that don't know what this card does, it says declare one card name. Banish one of that declared card from your main deck, and if you do, negate its effects, as well as the activated effects and effects on the field of cards with the same original name until the end of this turn. You can only activate one Crossout Designator per turn. So, notably...
And this is on a quick play spell, by the way.
Right. So, notably, what you can do here is it insulates your combos, right? So, if I'm playing...
It works as it can essentially work as a more complicated version of Call by the Grave.
In a way, yeah. But the main difference is that Called by the Grave can save you from things like Ash Blossom. It can save you from things like Effect Veiler.
Yeah, any hand trap that discards itself.
Right, to the graveyard. And Called by the Grave can also be used as a really interesting interruption, too, by removing a card from your opponent's graveyard.
Yeah, like for a great example is actually in Tri Brigade. If they activate Fractal, you can chain Call by the Grave and banish the Fractal, and then don't forget the Fractal effect.
Right.
Just as an example.
Right. But Crossout Designator gives a little bit of added versatility, because Crossout Designator, what it allows you to do is it insulates you from cards that Call by can't hit. So specifically
Infinite Impermanent,
Nibiru,
an opposing Call by the Grave.
Right. Yeah. Or even an opposing Crossout Designator.
Mm-hmm. As long as you have a copy of the card in your deck, you can Crossout Designator it.
Right. Now, it is notably a hard once per turn. So you can't, have a chain of 5 Crossout Designators going.
Yeah, you can't. Well, even then, because there's a limit of 3, you could, if it wasn't once per turn, you could still only have 1 Crossout on each chain. Because you're banishing one of your crossouts to cross out a crossout.
No, you could do 2 on a chain.
Theoretically.
Activate Ash Blossom.
Yeah. Cross out Ash Blossom.
Cross out, cross out, cross out, cross out.
Yeah, that's 2 crossouts.
On one chain.
Yeah.
Or three total on one chain. But 2 by one player.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
It's still early. It's still really early.
Yeah, we're still gotta get the blood flowing. But yeah, no, I see. Okay, I see what you're getting at.
Yeah. Okay, and for those wondering, we woke up early and recorded because we got back late from locals last night. So, but Crossout specifically is a very interesting and very powerful card this format,
especially in the mirror match.
Right. So Crossout, basically. Let's take a deck like Tri-Brigade. Tri-Brigade is one of, if not the best deck at this exact moment in time. Right now, 2 weeks from now, it might be different. But right now...
Tomorrow, it might be different.
Right. But right now, as far as I'm concerned anyway, Tri-Brigade, pretty good chance at it being just the best deck. So, with that being said, though... Let's look at why Crossout is so good in Tri-Brigade specifically. So in Tri-Brigade, you run your main core of monsters, which is 11 to 12 Tri-Brigade names in deck. Then you have other things like your starters. You have your Foolish Burial. You have a 10 key. You have 3 Desires. You have a couple of Revolts. So just say 18 cards, total engine, starters, extenders, everything. And then say you get it up to 25 if you include things like a zoo package or rescue cats.
Or a Lurelisk package.
Exactly. So that leaves you like 15 spots for just say hand traps.
Which is 5 3-ofs.
Right. Or you could do maybe 3 Imperms, 3 Veilers, 3 Ash, 3 Solemn Strike, and then like 3 crossouts.
Yeah, or like an Imperial Order, 2 crossout.
Right.
There's a lot of flexibility in those 15 slots.
Exactly. You know, for example, in my list, I'm running 2 Effect Veiler, 3 Imperm, 2 Ash, 3 crossout, the IO, 3 strikes. I mean, I'm running a very weird list, admittedly.
Then there's my list, because I recently picked up the deck myself just because it looked fun. I got 3 Ash Blossom, 3 Imperm, 3 Veiler. I got the IO, Triple Strike.
Right.
Very kind of similar, but I'm running more and less of things because I don't have crossouts.
Right. So, but the reason... So, when you look at the things that deck runs, and then look at the things that hurt the deck... You're already running a lot of things that hurt the deck within it, right? So because you run so many hand traps and because you run so many traps, you're already running, like I said, you're already running your Imperms, you're already running your Veilers, you're already running Ash Blossoms. So being able to have all of those already in the deck and not have to designate other deck space towards it in the deck makes it good.
As compared to, let's say, Madolche, which do run the Nibiru main and the Imper main, but I don't run Ash, so running Crossout doesn't really make sense.
And you don't run Veiler either.
And I don't run Veiler, so running Crossout doesn't really make sense because 2 of those cards I'd have to run a random one of just to use it for Crossout, and then if I draw it, I can't Crossout it,
right?
And then I probably can't even use it depending upon what's going on.
Yeah. So that's where I was going into. So a deck like Tri-Brigade or Prank Kids or the upcoming Sword Souls. When you have that small engine with 1-card starters, and then you have a large hand trap package, it exemplifies Crossout. It makes Crossout shine. But when you have a deck, like you said, like Madolche, or like Drytron, a deck that's very combo heavy and wants to get into its combos, and like B-Troopers, they're so heavily main decking extenders and combo pieces because everything's a 2-card combo. When you have that many extenders and when you have that many combo pieces, it makes it really hard to run crossouts.
Yeah, because there's just not the space for, first off, 3 crossout.
Right.
And then you also have to run one of every hand trap you would ever want to cross out.
Right.
Which is already which is already minimum of like 6 cards.
Yeah, so...
That's just to give you the ability to cross out 3 hand traps.
Right. And then you can still open the hand traps.
And then you can't cross out them. Granted, at that point,
Yeah, you can't cross out from your hand. So
yeah. But I mean, even then, a worst case scenario, you can still just use the hand traps as hand traps.
right.
But that's less than ideal. Particularly in those situations where that could have been an extender or another combo piece.
Right. So it's really interesting when you think about the ability, what decks can and what decks can't. So that's why we see this reflective in the current price of Crossout Designator. I have it pulled up right here.
Yeah. I mean, because it started pre-sale 120.
120, 130 was
Yeah.
pretty normal.
And then it dropped down to about 90 after everyone was able to crack open more tins.
And now they're sitting at $55.
Yeah. They have severely underwhelmed.
Yeah. But when you look at why,
It makes a lot of sense.
right? So we're coming off a ban list that just saw Prank Kits get hit, which was probably one of the, if not the biggest, run tons of combo pieces deck there is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, run tons of hand traps deck there is.
Yeah.
So, but Tri-Brigade's still around. But really, when you think about it, Tri-Brigade's like the only deck that can properly utilize crossouts.
Right at the moment, there's within reason, there's probably plenty of rogue decks that absolutely adore its existence, but
Right.
we're sticking within like tier 1, tier 1.5.
Right. So if you look at the decks that are really competitive, if you run a more mid-rangey PK deck, a little like Phantom Knight, Burning Abyss deck, if you run a mid-rangey version, that could also get good benefits and good use out of Crossout. But aside from that, you really are relying, like if you're running a super combo heavy variant of PK,
Yeah, there's still lots of extenders you're running.
and it's really hard to fit that in.
Oh yeah, because with more combo one, you're running the Junk Forward, you're running the
Psychic Wielder.
Psychic Wielder, Psychic
Commander, maybe? Is that?
no, it's like the Psychic dude with the yo-yos.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you're also sometimes they also run Takatomborg and Terratop,
Right, exactly.
or Takateratop as I like to call it.
Yeah, the Speedroid package.
Yeah,
But not the whole Speedroid deck.
yeah, just like those 2 cards.
Right.
Multiple
right.
copies of the 2 cards, but just those 2 cards.
No.
Sometimes I've seen
no.
2 builds run like 2 of each, and I'm like, that's
I
excessive.
promise you didn't. Terratop is limited.
Oh, he is?
Yes.
Okay, it must have been an older build I was looking at.
Okay. It definitely could have been, but no, Terratop's been limited for a long time.
Yeah, I should probably pay more attention to when the deck list was posted.
That's all right.
Anyway.
Trust me, I can't tell you how many times I've looked up a deck and be like, wow, this deck list looks really cool. I'm like, wait a minute, this card's banned, this card's banned, this card's limited.
and it's like a 3-year-old deck list, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Anyway.
But yeah.
Still, there's still lots of extra cards that they're running that
limits hand trap space.
Yeah.
So I think that when you look at it, like I said, you have to be running some kind of a mid-rangey deck, because you also can't run it in a deck like you could probably run it in Invoke Shaddoll Dogmatica, but you can't run it in a deck like the Trap Eldritch deck.
Yeah, because you have way too many traps you need to run.
Right. I mean, you're running all traps. You're not even running hand traps in those decks.
Yeah.
Because hand traps are not very good because a turn skip doesn't do anything when you are not physically capable of killing on the next turn.
Yeah, exactly. You'd much rather just wait till another combo and flip a torrent.
Right.
And nuke and just completely wipe their board.
Right.
And you lose a golden boy who you can just recur.
Exactly. It's a good card, and I don't think there's any denying that or any arguing that. But right at this exact moment in time, in this next 2 to 3 week span, it's just kind of all right.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I think as you see more of the Wave 2 tins getting opened in early November and on into December, I could see the price of the card realistically dropping more.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I think that part that will ultimately depend on the success of Sword Soul.
Yeah, that's a great move into the next point, which is that Sword Soul is one of those mid-rangey decks.
Mm-hmm.
So,
which absolutely live and die by, do you have the hand trap to stop me?
right.
If you have Effect Veiler, Imperm, for like 1 or 2 of the cards, I think Ash is alright.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. They're done. Turn skip with just one of them.
Yeah, an Ash or an Imperm or no, I'm sorry, a Veiler or an Imperm really hurts that deck, similar to Tri-Brigade.
And Token Collector.
Oh yeah, Token Collector is huge.
Token Collector, for the most part, kind of does the exact same thing as Imperm and Veiler, in that it stops them from getting the Token Tuner.
Yeah, and if they can't get access to that tuner, they lose.
Yeah.
So.
And normally it's just normal summon effect to get the token, and then you just Imperm or Veiler that, or just Token Collector, eat the token.
Right. I do think that Crossout will be mandatory in that deck specifically. I wonder, though, how good that deck actually is going to be. Because I think that vulnerability, the lack of lines of play, I don't know how good that deck actually is. It was great in the OCG, but the OCG has a lot slower mid-rangey format.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a more combo-heavy format.
They also have triple Maxi.
That's why they have the slower mid-rangey format.
Because they have Maxi. Which also makes Crossout Designator also a lot more powerful.
Yeah.
Just because one of the major things you're going to cross out is probably the Maxi.
Right.
And you yourself already main 3.
I'm still gonna say I think that we get Maxi back on the next ban list.
Maybe.
So
because we have Crossout.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we also didn't get Maxi back when Call by the Grave was at 3.
Yeah.
So.
And another thing about Crossout that's really you have to think about is like we said, think about a deck like Drytron. That deck is running like 38 engine pieces, or like 39 engine. Like that deck struggles to side out already.
Yeah, and like the only hand traps it runs are also technically engine pieces with Herald of Orange Light.
Right. You can't even fit like Ghost Bells and stuff in that deck. So it's interesting to me to see how that card's going to evolve moving forward and how that card's going to be perceived moving forward. So,
you know what I just thought of? Another card that really hurts Sword Soul.
What?
Ghost Ogre. Because then they'll normal summon, get the tuner, but then Ghost Ogre just pops the non-tuner, and they're stuck with a tuner.
That would be an interesting one, yeah.
And no non-tuner to...
I think Ghost Ogre is a solid card heading into the next format.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think that'll wrap up the Crossout Designator discussion, unless you had something else you wanted to add.
No, it's just a little Ghost Ogre comment I just thought of.
Yeah, awesome. Well, let's go ahead and move on into a little bit of discussion about one of the most important things we talk about here, which is ETB Games!
Woo!
Now,
Alexandria, Louisiana, baby!
Absolutely. ETB Games is, of course, our sponsor here on the podcast. So a huge shout out to ETB Games. Thank you so much for that. We went there yesterday. We had a good time. We did our little locals tournament. We did some OTS packs.
I got second.
Hey, I got third.
Woo!
So, huge shout out to ETB Games, now a registered OTS store. You can find them on the Konami website. We went there yesterday. We had a great time. We actually ended up opening a bunch of the Pokemon celebrations, ETBs and packs and stuff.
Yeah, my wife loves Pokemon, particularly Pikachu, and they had the celebrations pack with the Gigantamax Chubby Chew figure, and I was like, I gotta get that for her.
Yeah.
And when I got home, she squeed when I showed it to her.
Of course. Yeah, I'm a big fan. I really love Pokemon. I like the quality of the packs. I like the quality of the cards. And I like the artwork. And it's so nostalgic to me. So I opened 2 of the Celebrations ETBs, which are, oh my goodness, so expensive, by the way.
But you get a lot of stuff with it.
You do. And that's one of the other cool things I like about the Pokemon ETBs and stuff.
And also the Enter the Battlefield games over at Alexandria, Louisiana has them at a pretty decent price. They're still expensive, but,
Yeah, but they have them at least.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you can find them on the website and on their TCG player page, which is, the link will be in the description below. I was just very happy that I pulled the shiny golden Mew.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't believe it. I lost it, dude.
Mm-hmm.
It was so funny. We're sitting there opening the packs, and I don't buy Pokemon to like scalp it or reseal it. When I buy Pokemon product, I do it because I'm having fun.
Mhm.
I do it because
We don't even play. I don't think either one of us even play the game.
we don't. I do it because I think the cards are really cool.
You do it because of the pretty pictures.
Literally, I do it for the nostalgia. I don't care that Dark Gyarados that I pulled is only worth like $2.
It's super cool.
It looks really cool. I don't care that Venusaur that I pulled is only like $10. It's super cool.
I don't care that the Cosmog, Koem, and Lunala and Solgaleo I pulled are almost worthless.
None of those words made any sense to me.
Yeah. It was legendaries from Sun and Moon. Anyway, like that.
Okay.
Yeah, like Angie absolutely loves those cards because those were some of her favorite Pokemon from those games.
Okay. See, I don't know any Pokemon past like Sinnoh.
Fair.
So I know a little bit in like Black, White, and X and Y, but once you get into like Sun, Moon, and a Sword and Shield, I'm lost. I'm gone.
That's fair. Anyway, but yeah, like I said, you can definitely get any of your you can definitely get like any of your Pokemon stuff from ETB over in Alexandria, Louisiana. You can get your Magic, of course. They got Yu-Gi-Oh, Tabletop. They actually still have copies of Enter the Witchlight, the newest D&D book. So if you're looking for that, they also have the in-store versions where you have to go to a game store to get where it's just got like a different cover art. They still have those as well. If you're collecting specifically the game store cover arts. If you're not, they've got the ones that aren't either. They got all kinds of D&D stuff. They got some Pathfinder stuff, Warhammer.
Well, again.
Oh, also football and baseball cards.
Yeah, they do also do sports cards and sports figurines. So be sure to check that out. But a huge thank you, of course, again to ETB Games in Alexandria, Louisiana for being our sponsor. You can check them out at the link in the description below. So let's go ahead and go on in and talk a little bit more about Burst of Destiny. So for those that don't know, Burst of Destiny comes out in about 2 weeks, a week and a half. A lot of people truly believe that this card is that this set's going to be insane. It's going to truly change the meta up a lot. We're going to do a quick recap here of some of the Floowandereze cards first.
Yes, because Konami's day 3 of their
creator reveals.
Yeah, creator reveals. Just he was actually revealing the Floowandereze and their rarities.
Yeah, so this is all revealed by MST Tom Box. And the first thing we want to do is talk about Floowandereze and Snowl.
It's a secret.
Yep. So once per turn, while you control this tribute summoned card, you can conduct up to 3 normal summons / sets this turn, not just 1. While this tribute summoned card is in the monster zone, if your monster attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage. Once per opponent's turn, quick effect, you can banish 1 card from your hand, change all special summon monsters your opponent controls to face down defense position, which is actually kind of bad because of, link summoning. You can't do
links.
that with links.
Next, let's just go ahead and skip down to the other secret and just do it down by rarity.
Oh, okay, we can do that.
Yeah, the other secret is Floowandereze and Impin. Let's see. If this card is tribute summon, you can add a Floowandereze spell or trap from your deck to your hand.
Oh, and I'm sorry, not to cut you off. Also, the Snowl is not just a secret; it's also a Starlight.
Yes.
So
anyway, immediately after this effect resolves, you can normal summon 1 monster. While this tribute summon card is in your monster zone, your opponent cannot activate the effects of special summon monsters they control in attack position. Once per battle during damage calculation, this card battles an opponent's monster. Quick effect: banish 1 card from your hand. That opponent's monster's current attack and defense become halved until the end of the turn.
Right.
Oh yeah, it's really good. Like I said, it was a secret. Let's see where.
But yeah, this one's a lot better, and they're both level 10.
Yeah.
So
2 tributes.
There is one ultra rare in the archetype, which is their field spell Floowandereze and the Magnificent Map. During your main phase, you can reveal 1 level 1 Floowandereze monster in your hand and banish 1 Floowandereze card with a different name from your deck. Then, immediately after this effect resolves, normal summon the revealed monster. If your opponent normal summons a monster immediately after this effect resolves, you can normal summon 1 Floowandereze monster. You can only use each effect of Floowandereze in the Magnificent Map once per turn. This card is insane for the deck.
Oh, yeah, no, that's definitely a 3 of plus terraforming, so you're running 4 copies.
Yeah, this might actually be the best card in the deck.
Oh, yeah.
So you can activate this and activate the effect. So you reveal one from your hand, banish one card, and it can be any Floowandereze card with a different name from the deck, and then immediately went out and hit another normal summon. And that's in addition to your normal summon for the turn.
Mm-hmm.
And then if your opponent resolves a normal summon, then you can normal summon a Floowandereze monster also. So that gives you normal summons during their turn, which means you can normal summon things like Rise of the Mega Monarch.
Yeah, and rip a card out of their hand that they just added. Or you could even make, or like if you have your field spell up, you can also pump out, well, you're going to have the field spell up, obviously. You can even pump out Earthbound Immortal with Rika.
Right.
Who can then just kind of go, I'm just going to gain a bunch of attack and then rip more cards out of your hand while I'm doing it.
Yep. It's kind of crazy when you really think about it.
Oh, yeah. So good news for anyone who wants to build a deck. Everything else is super or below.
Yeah, everything else, I think there's like 3 trap cards, or 2 trap cards.
Yeah, 2 traps,
another
1 spell, 1, 2, 3, 4 monsters.
Right, and this is crazy when you really think about it, because Snowl might be a one of, and even, it can be sided out against link decks. So
even then I would probably even commit it. I would probably commit it to the sideboard to begin with.
Yeah,
because so many decks right now link.
The bigger reason for it is that it's a 2,900 monster.
Yeah, so. M-Pen being 2,700, but also it forces your opponent to deal with it,
right?
Because they can't just keep setting stuff,
right?
Because you have piercing.
So
M-Pen is 2,700, which isn't anything to scoff at,
right?
But it's definitely a 2 of, just due to it being overall better than Snowl.
Yeah, way better.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some of the main deck monsters, because that's really where the deck shines.
Oh yeah.
Well, they're all main deck monsters. It has no extra deck.
Yeah.
So
well, the deck the deck doesn't utilize an extra. You could still have one, but I mean,
you use it for Dogmatica punishment.
You pretty much use it for Dogmatica punishment.
So you run like 3 Entas. You can run the Wind Pegasus Adagnister. Oh, you absolutely run Fairjeet to cycle, and you can run the Tri-Brigade for Shurag the Ominous Omen.
Yeah.
Because when these guys banish themselves, then you can search. You can activate Shurag to search and extend. So
yeah. Oh yeah, no. But yeah. But I mean, you'd have to link. Actually, I know that'd be really easy to do, because then if your opponent stops your normal summoning, or you run out of field spells and you can't resolve it, you can then just link 4 into a Shurag, banish something off your opponent's field.
You can't link 4. We'll get into that.
Okay.
The cards will stop you from special summoning.
Oh, that's true.
Okay, if this face-up card would leave... Okay, so this is Floowandereze and Rabina. If this face-up card would leave the field, banish it instead. You can only use each of the following effects of Floowandereze and Rabina once per turn, and cannot special summon during the turn you activate either effect.
There it is.
Right. If this card is normal summoned, you can add 1 level 4 lower Winged Beast monster from deck to hand. Then immediately after this effect resolves, you can normal summon 1 Winged Beast monster. If a Winged Beast monster is normal summoned to your side of the field while this card is banished, you can add this card to your hand. So... yes, I know, by the way, that we've talked about all of these before, but we want to review because these cards are about to be very relevant.
Mm-hmm.
So, next...
It's the same thing we do with Sword Soul.
Right. Next one is Floowandereze and Eaglin. If this face-up card would leave the field, banish it instead. A theme is happening here. You can only use each of the following effects of Floowandereze and Eaglin once per turn, and cannot special summon during the turn you activate either effect. If this card is normal summoned, you can add 1 level 7 or higher Winged Beast monster from your deck to your hand. Then immediately after this effect resolves, you can normal summon a Winged Beast monster. If a Winged Beast monster is normal summoned to your field while this card is banished, you can add this card to your hand. So, what you can do is, you can normal summon Rabina, add Eaglin, normal summon Eaglin, search Snowl, normal summon Snowl. That gives you 3 more normal summons, which you can then use to... well, I guess Rabina and the other one are once per turn.
Well, yeah, their search effects are.
But you have 3 more normal summons, which you can use for the other ones.
But hold on. But because they were tributed to get banished, and you normal summon the Snowl, and then you get the other 2 back to your hand.
Yeah, because they've both been banished, exactly.
Yeah.
So, next one is Floowandereze and Stry, which is like, it's an ostrich. I really love these cards arts.
Yeah.
If this face-up card would leave the field, banish it instead. Who knew? You can only use each of the following effects of Floowandereze and Stry once per turn and cannot special summon during the turn you activate either effect. If this card is normal summoned, you can target one card in either graveyard, banish it, then immediately after this effect resolves, normal summon a Winged Beast. If a Winged Beast monster is normal summoned to your field while this card is banished, you can add this card to your hand. So, notably, this one can be an interruption on your opponent's turn, because if you normal summon him with a map, you can target a card in their graveyard and banish it.
Oh, yeah. And now keep in mind that the way this works is that, like, if your opponent normal summons a monster and it's got, like, and has, like, an effect that'll let them, like, cycle summon out of their graveyard and they only have one target, map goes off, you can normal summon the Rabina that you added back to your hand last turn, right? And then Search Out Stritch affects normal summon Stry, and banish it, and then because it's just one after the other, after the other, after the other on new chains.
Right. And it just never stops. Floowandereze and Toucan. If this face-up card would leave the field, banish it. Who knew? You can only use each of the following effects of Floowandereze and Toucan once per turn and cannot special summon during the turn you activate either effect. If this card is normal summoned, you can target one of your banished Floowandereze cards, add it to your hand, then immediately after this effect resolves, and normal summon a Winged Beast. If a Winged Beast monster is normal summoned to your side of the field while this card is banished, you can add this card to your hand. So, more recursion, essentially. So, and all of those are level 1.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the two secrets are the two tribute ones. Let's see. Now we're on to the spells. You got Floowandereze and the Unexplored Winds, which will be a common or super continuous spell. You can conduct tribute summons require two tributes by sending one monster you control and one card your opponent controls to the graveyard instead of tributing. It is still treated as a tribute summon.
Yes.
During your main phase, you can reveal up to 2 Winged Beasts from your hand and place them on the bottom of your deck in any order, then draw cards equal to the number of cards placed. So first off, it lets you, like, cycle out cards to get more draws into other things, like hand traps or other combo pieces, stuff like that. Get rid of combo pieces you don't need or that are highly searchable. And not only that, you can also out your opponent's... It essentially turns all your tribute monsters into kaijus.
Right.
Because you can tribute off one of your opponent's... non-targeting tribute off one of your opponent's monster. Well, it's not tributing, it's sent them to the graveyard, which is important, but still.
Right.
It essentially turns them all into kaijus. That can let you out Dragoon, really anything that isn't unaffected by other card effects.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I mean, Winda.
Yeah.
So, and with the other really thing that's interesting about this is that if you have the field spell up and you have this up, you can do this during your opponent's turn and steal one of their monsters during their turn.
Yeah, which is really gross.
Yeah.
Let's see. Then we have a couple of common or super rare traps. Floowandereze and the Dreaming Town. During your main phase, immediately after this effect resolves, normal summon... During the main phase, normal summon a level 4 or lower Winged Beast monster. If you tribute summon a level 7 or higher monster while this card is in your graveyard, banish this card, change all monster your opponent controls to face down defense position.
Again, it's okay.
It's alright.
Mainly because banishing a face down defense position is honestly not that good.
Yeah. However, the being able to get access to your normal summon shenanigans during your opponent's turn on a trap card.
Yeah, that is very good.
Yeah. The banish effect will probably only come up because your opponent has Dragoon, so you activate this. During your turn, they either have to Dragoon negate or they're Dragoon's face down.
Right.
So. It forces like non-link monster negates.
Yeah.
The next one is a counter trap, Floowandereze in the Scary Sea. When your opponent would special summon a monster while you control a face-up tribute summon monster and no special summon monsters, negate the summon. And if you do, return that monster to the hand. Also, for the rest of this turn, your opponent cannot special summon, and they conduct up to 3 normal summons / sets this turn, not just one. It essentially just kind of floodgates almost every deck in the format right now.
Right.
I mean, because what is Tri-Brigade going to do with 3 normal summons and no special summons?
Here's some other interesting things that this deck can do also. First of all, like you said, every deck needs to special summon, but every deck in this current format also needs something else that's very key, which is their graveyard. And this card is going to be running Dimensional Fissure,
Macro,
Dimension Shifter,
Triple
Dimension Shifter, yeah, just to name a few.
because they kind of don't care about their own graveyard.
Yeah, this deck is running every
Banish-based Floodgate.
yeah, pretty much. Just all of them. Yeah.
I mean, they could also theoretically run Necro Valley and not care.
Yeah.
Theoretically.
Yeah.
But I just think it'd be better just to run the banishment stuff.
Probably, yeah. So. But yeah, that's Floowandereze. It's an interesting archetype. It's very good, to be honest with you. But I don't know. I think the deck dying to a single Imperm or a single Veiler is really rough.
Literally normal summon Rubina, effect Veiler.
Yeah, and I think the deck is kind of limited in what it can also run because it's running macros and defis and deshifters, and it just... I think it makes it difficult to run things like Veiler because you can't send it to the graveyard so often.
Yeah, I mean, they could still run Ash Blossom, Ghost Spell, Ghost Ogre, any hand trap that discards itself. But so many of them send themselves to the graveyard, which to a lot of people I know sounds like the exact same thing, but it is very specifically different.
Right.
Because if your card says that it has to send itself to the graveyard and D shifter is up, it can't be sent to the graveyard, therefore you cannot activate the effect.
Right.
Whereas you can always discard.
Right.
It's not a case of it has to be discard the graveyard, it just means discard it.
Yeah, for sure.
Doesn't matter where it goes after it's discarded. It's one of those things about Yu-Gi-Oh! Where the wording is very important. And that's why under Macro, D-Fissure, Dimensional Shifter, you can still activate stuff like Ash Blossom, but you can't activate Effect Veiler.
Yeah, it's an important distinction, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So
you got to be real careful, because if D-Shifter's up, that means your opponent can't activate Effect Veiler.
Right.
But they can still Ash Blossom and Imperm.
Right.
Granted, that's 1 out of 3 possible targets taken care of. You know, possible things that could stop you from doing anything taken care of with 1 card.
Yep.
You know.
So.
Yeah. Overall, I think it's going to be a bare minimum a really fun and interesting deck for the person who's playing it.
Yeah.
Less so for the person who is currently dueling that person.
Right.
But probably more fun and interactive than something like Eldritch or Invoke Shadal Dogmatica.
Right. Well, do you want to go ahead and get into the full set spoiler and some of the world premieres for BODE?
Oh, absolutely.
All right, awesome.
All right, so day 4 was just them kind of going through all the new the world premiere cards, which is all just Bee Trooper stuff.
Mostly.
Especially the bees.
Yeah, mostly. There's also some other stuff that's interesting to talk about, and this is where we got rarities for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Just
the
every
entire
card.
set.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and talk about the non-Bee Trooper TCG exclusives, and then we'll move on into
the Bee Troopers.
Right. So the first card is what?
Okay, we have Heritage of Light, a continuous spell. If a monster is Ritual, Fusion, Synchro, or Exceed summon, while a monster with the same card type, Ritual, Fusion, Synchro, or Exceed, is on the field, you can draw 1 card. You can only use this effect of Heritage of Light once per turn. That's actually a fairly decent card.
It's interesting.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially if your deck just continuously pumps out the same type of extra deck monster over and over and over. It can, it can give you an extra draw if you're playing it.
Right.
The thing is, it's a non-searchable continuous spell card.
Right.
So if you draw, you'd have to run multiples just to be able to see. And if you draw multiples, the second one's dead because it's a hard once per turn. It's one of those things. Next, and that is a common. Next up, we have the Nightsword Serpent, also a common. Level 4, water, reptile, 500 attack, 600 defense. If this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can special summon this card, but then banish it when it leaves the field. You can only use the effect of Nightsword Serpent once per turn. It's a really interesting level 4 extender.
Yes.
Yeah, like any deck, like any level 4 deck that sends cards to the graveyards for card effects is gonna love this guy.
Right. So It is interesting that it's a little bit of an extender. So, but notably, you can't do it if you use them for like a link summon or
Yeah, because he's not being sent to graveyard by card effect. Also, if you send him to the graveyard as a cost.
Right, like for an Xyz or something, as a detachment for an Xyz or something like that.
or because you activated, the first card that comes to mind
Double
is
Dragon Lords.
Double Dragon Lords or Regeki Break or Lightning Vortex.
Right.
Anything that's like discard one card, get this effect.
Right.
Notably, its effect would go off if you use it for Paleozoic Deinonychus.
That is true.
Because it very specifically sends it to the graveyard at not as cost because of the other Paleozoics kind of needing that.
Here's a good one. DD Assault Carrier. Level 8 Dark Machine Effect Monster, 25/25 are the stats. Cannot declare an attack unless you banish one card from your graveyard. If exactly 3 of your cards are banished, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only use this effect of DD Assault Carrier once per turn.
It's pretty good. The whole stipulation of if you having to have exactly 3 banished monsters special summon this thing is kind of rough.
It's kind of reminiscent of
like Dark Arm Dragon. Yeah. Which is still interesting. I imagine that a DD deck would be able to really manipulate how many cards are banished. And be able to kind of set it to specifically 3. Overall it's all right. Next we have a Bisque Keeper, a common waterfish link effect monster, 1500 attack, link 2. Material, 2 water monsters. Cannot be used as link material to turn it as link summoned. If this card is link summoned, you can special summon a fish monster from your hand to a zone. Your zone this card points to. You can target one other fish monster you control and one card your opponent controls. Banish those targets.
And the arrows are bottom left, bottom right.
Yeah. Great arrows for a card like this.
Yeah, for sure. Man, cannot be used as link material to turn it link summoned. It's just killer.
Yeah. 1500 is alright for a link too. It's still really easy to just normal summon and run it over. But it's great extender. Particularly in something like Sharks, where they're just constantly pumping out monsters. This could let you like use 2 of them instead of exceeding, linking off in this dude, and then continue to extend.
Right. Next card is Apex Predation. If you control a normal summon/set monster, destroy all special summoned monsters on the field. Until the end of your next turn after this card is activated, you cannot normal summon or set. You can only activate 1 Apex Predation per turn. This card is actually really interesting. Like I said, it's a common trap card. This card would be really interesting in like a sealed format.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Also, decks that kind of don't need their normal summon, but can still utilize it, can also really use this card. A good example of that would actually be Tri-Brigade.
Yeah, I guess that's possible.
Yeah, they don't need their normal summon, but they could still go like normal summon kit, link it off, blah, 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 and then flip this guy.
Right.
And oh no, I can't normal summon next turn with my Karis in hand.
Yeah. I would say most decks that can run Almirage, really.
Yeah, most decks that can run Almirage and then don't need their normal summon to play.
That said, it's still not good enough to actually see play.
Exactly. That we want to. This is me coming up with ideas where it could be used, but no, I wouldn't run this in anything.
It's interesting. We never said it was good.
Yeah. All right, now we're getting into the actual B Trooper stuff.
Yep.
Let's see. First off, we have B Trooper Assault Roller Common. Level 4 Earth Insect Effects, 1600 attack, 1400 defense. You can special summon this card from your hand by banishing an insect monster. You can only special summon B Trooper Assault Roller once per turn. It gains 200 attack for each insect monster you control, except this card. And when this card is destroyed by battle, add a B Trooper monster from deck to your hand, except itself. You can only use this effect of itself once per turn.
So it's very cool that you can special summon it by banishing an insect from your grave, because you can use that to trigger your resident insect. So you can have a little bit less like non-B Trooper stuff in your B Trooper deck.
Yeah. But I mean,
the rest of it's kind of terrible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the whole point behind it is as an extender you can use that can also plus you by banishing the resident insect, as you had mentioned. And you can still link. If it was level 3, it'd be better, because then you could also use it to exceed summon into Cicada King.
Right.
Or Giga Brilliant and blah, 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 whatever you're doing.
Yeah, it would definitely be better.
Yeah. But I think that's why they specifically made it level 4, so you can't do that.
Yeah.
But still, it's an extender.
Hey, because that's what that deck needed was more extenders.
Yeah. Next up, Bee Trooper Light Flapper Ultra, level 6 water insect effect. Interesting. 2k attack, 2200 defense. If this card is normal or specialed, target 2 of your Bee Trooper monsters with different names that are banished and or in your graveyard. Add them to your hand. For the rest of the turn, you cannot activate their effects or effects with cards in their names. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can return this card to your hand to negate the attack. You can only use each effect once per turn. So my biggest issue is that it doesn't have a way to special summon itself. You have to special summon it with something else.
Yeah.
It is level 6 though. Isn't there an insect that special summons level 5 or higher insects?
I'm going to be completely real with you. I haven't read the rest of the Bee Trooper cards in quite a while, so I don't remember.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, if there is, this is all right. I mean, it does let you, like, recurse some of your used materials. Particularly, you can, like, bring back a Scout Buggy.
Yeah.
And then use it again. If you've
next
already
turn. Next turn. You can't use it the turn you
Yeah,
grabbed
next
it.
turn, it gives you a play for next turn.
Right.
Next, Heavy Bee Trooper Mighty Neptune Ultra. Level 8 Earth Insect, 3000 attack and defense.
Oh my goodness, the artwork on this card is so cool.
It really is. Cannot be normal summoned or set. Rough. Must first be special summoned from your hand by shuffling 3 of your banished insect monsters into the main deck.
Now that's actually solid.
Yeah. Granted, you can't special summon it any other way, but after you special summon it by shuffling, you can monster born or whatever.
Right.
During the main phase, if this card in its owner's possession is destroyed or banished by an opponent's card effect, you can special summon this card. You can only use this effect once per turn. Once per turn during the end phase, target 1 other insect monster you control. It gains 1000 attack.
Interesting.
Mhm.
If you end on this and the Invincible Atlas, you can make him even bigger.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, like you can absolutely, given time, you could absolutely make Invincible Atlas and OTK in 1 attack.
Yeah, I think the funniest part about this card in particular, though, is the fact that this card is a it just lets you get infinite resonant insect activations.
Pretty much. Particularly with the whole when it gets banished, it just brings itself right back.
Well, the fact that
or if your opponent destroys or banishes it, it just gets brought right back.
Right. Just the fact that to summon it, you shuffle 3 banished insects back into the deck.
Yeah.
It's like, I want to use Resonant Insect 18 times in my first turn.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Like, actually, you could also combine this with the other one, the Light Hopper. Yeah, Light Flapper.
Yeah.
To then bring it back to your hand to reshuffle it back next turn.
Right.
And just continuously. It almost creates a near infinite resource loop.
It creates a really efficient resource loop, is what I'll say.
Let's see. Next up, we have Ultra Bee Trooper Absolute Hercules Ultra. Level 11 Earth Insect Fusion. 4000 attack and defense. Material, 4 insects.
Gross.
After this card is fusion summoned, it is unaffected by other cards' effects until the end of your next turn. At the end of the battle phase, you can target an insect monster with 3000 or less attack in your graveyard, special summon it. So, you can only use this effect once per turn. Its effects are alright. And this thing can crash into Obelisk and destroy it. The problem is it's a fusion that requires 4 insects.
Right.
That's a lot of materials I would rather just use to make an Invincible Atlas.
And a lot of the time, yeah.
Unless there's like an insect fusion spell that lets you use material out of your deck.
Which there's not.
Yeah, because then you could use like a Resonance Insect to get its effect off, get a bunch of other effects off.
Dude, if there was a card that let you fusion summon this using materials from the deck, this would be the best deck in the game.
Oh, easily.
Oh, okay, I say the best deck in the game. That might not. I don't know about best deck in the game, but it would
right now.
It would be a lot better than it is. Let's just say that.
Next up is Bee Trooper Ascent Ultra Rare Normal Spell.
Bee Trooper Descent.
Yeah, Bee Trooper Descent. Special summon a Bee Trooper token, and then if you control an insect monster with 3000 or more attack, pop or spell or trap on the field. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of meh.
Yeah.
Beat Trooper Landing.
If this was a quick play, it would be amazing.
Oh, absolutely. Beat Trooper Landing, common, normal spell. Fusion summon an insect fusion. Here's the fusion. From your extra deck, using monsters from your hand or field as fusion materials.
Ah, so close.
So close to being good. I mean, still, if you draw the resonance, I could let you send to the graveyard.
Mm-hmm.
But then you're also sending, like, you're pretty much sending your entire hand at that point if you open this and 4 insects. If this card is in your graveyard, except the turn it was sent there, you can banish 2 insects from your graveyard to add it back to your hand. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
well, I guess being able to banish 2 insect monsters from your graveyard is really good. Because, again,
Resonance
Insect.
Yeah.
Not being once per turn is kind of crazy.
Yeah. Next up, Beat Trooper Squad, a common normal trap. Tribute a non-token insect monster. Special summon a Beat Trooper token. For every 1,000 attack of the tributed monster. That's hilarious. That will let you turn, like, the Absolute Hercules, activate this, tribute it off, get the 4 tokens, and then link them off into Invincible Atlas. I just think it's funny. And that's it. And like I said, we also have the full set list. For like the entire set.
There's a few notable cards to talk about in here.
Taya, Sword Soul of Taya is a super.
So wait, whoa. Let's say what all the secret rares are first off. How's that? And then we'll go in by the archetypes.
Fair enough.
So all your secret rares are, first one is Sword Soul of Mo Yi.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have Incredible Ecclesia the Virtuous. Then you have Ice Jade Tremora, Floowandereze and Snow, Floowandereze and Empen.
Lord of the Heavenly Prison.
Right, so that's your the one that protects your back row.
Yeah. Destroy Phoenix Enforcer is a secret. Sword Soul Grandmaster Chi Zhao is a secret.
Yep.
Zora the Magistus Conflagrant Calamity is a secret, like we said before.
Interesting.
Small World is a secret.
Small World is a really dumb card, by the way.
Very unnecessarily complex.
Honestly, yeah.
So, you reveal a monster in your hand. Then you reveal another monster from your deck with the same level, or type, or attribute, or
attack
or defense. One, not if 2 of those match, not a valid
and
target.
a different name.
And then you banish first target and then add a third card from your deck to your hand.
Who's also different from those.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
Yeah, and also a different name from the first card.
Right.
It's really complicated, and there's like a game somebody put online to where they show you the first card you revealed and the card you're trying to get. And you got to pick the in-between.
And it's really kind of difficult.
Yeah. Now, granted, if anyone wants to actually run this in a deck, they would sit down and kind of figure out
what their targets are.
What their target pathing is and all that. But I'm just like, why does this need to exist? To be fair, it can search literally any monster in the game.
Yeah, if you're clever enough to use it correctly.
Yeah, if you're clever enough to build a deck to use it properly.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else? Okay, so like all the Sword Souls are all foil. All the Sword Soul monsters are all foiled. Super or higher. Let's see, Ice Jade's all the other Ice Jade stuff is common.
Mm-hmm. Was that the last secret rare?
Yeah.
Oh. I thought there was one more.
Oh, here we go. Okay, so for the Floowandereze, Rabina and Eaglin are supers. Stry and Toucan are supers.
Mm-hmm.
Destiny Hero Denier is a super.
Yes.
The new Magic Key monster is a common.
Right.
The Sue ships are all common. We already knew that. The 3 new Penguin monsters are all common.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
That's good. So that's Penguin Cleric, Penguin Ninja, and Penguin Squire.
Yeah. Let's see who else. What else? I'm just kind of like flipping through.
Right. We also have a new Starry Night card. We have Borreload Riot Dragon, which is the
Borreload ritual.
Right. Here's the best card in the set: Outstanding Dog Mary.
Yeah.
Joking.
Jokingly. Magic Key. Oh, the new Magic Key Fiend is a super. Magic Key Spirit is a super. Oh, Gunkan Suship Uniclass Super Dreadnought is a super. So the new Exceed is a super.
Boral Code Dragon, which I believe is the Link 5,
is an ultra.
Evil Twins Trouble Sunny is an ultra.
Sword Soul Emergence. Oh, hold on. Yeah, never mind. Everything Sword Soul is foil.
Yes.
Literally everything Sword Soul.
Except for Sword Soul Assessment and Blackout, which I think are some cards that you don't even run.
Yeah. Brandon in Red is super.
So as far as the B Trooper cards, like we said, Assault Roller is a common, Light Flapper is an ultra, Heavy B Trooper Mighty Neptune is an ultra, Ultra B Trooper Absolute Hercules is an ultra, Descent is an ultra, Landing and Squad are commons. So
yeah. Let's see. Yeah.
And then Elementar Strato says the 100th card in the set is a Starlight.
Yeah. Oh, actually, Floowandereze and the Dreaming Town's a super. The Scary Sea's a super. Let's see. Magic Key Locking is common.
Yeah. So I think that'll pretty much wrap it up, though, right?
Yeah. That's pretty much it. I don't see, like. I'm just kind of flipping through. So, there's nothing else in particular that's like.
Okay. Let's move on to the podcast question of the day, because we got a ton of responses to this.
Yes, we did.
This was our most responded to podcast question of the day ever, and I'm kind of excited to talk about it. So the question was, what is your favorite starter/structure deck? I'm telling you, we got literally dozens and dozens of replies. We got, like I said, more than we've ever gotten.
Like, I'm pretty sure if we sat there and organized it, we probably had at least one person say that.
Just about all of them.
Just about every structure deck. There's probably someone who went, that's my favorite structure deck.
Yeah. So we got one reply from Pheromone, which is they're a cosplayer that are actually there in the Duel Links Invitational this weekend by Konami.
Ooh, so good luck to them.
Yeah, major creator and major cosplayer in the community. Very cool. They said the Secret Beast structure deck was actually their favorite. So give them extreme anime vibes, fun deck to play, and it provides kind of a nice medium difficulty against opponents who are still learning the game or trying out a new deck. So we got a couple of replies of like Spellcaster's Command, Soul Burner, which was the Salamangreat structure, Rocket Revolt, of course. Those are some really competitive ones. Skyhawk, of course, he had to come in with the Dino Masher's Fury for the Dino deck. We got one from Master of Pendulum that's from Mariami Jackie. So very happy to have her replying. Dual Daddy said their favorite starter deck was Joey and their favorite structure deck was Rocket Revolt. Gates of the Underworld. That's one that we completely missed.
I completely forgot about that one.
You're going to say that a lot. You're fixing to say that a lot.
Yeah, I am.
Because you haven't looked at all these replies like I have. The OCG structure deck Kaiba, which I have never even seen that one. Another Rocket Revolt. The Monarch structure. I'm guessing that would be the new Monarch structure deck. The one
where it had like 2 boss monsters.
Right. Synchron Extreme, we got a couple of those. More Soul Burners. This one is the Layer of Darkness structure deck, which I believe is kind of a really older one. It's got like a big like dark dragon with chains all over it.
Yeah, I think that was Diablos, the Diablos retrain.
I think you're right. No, this is like really, really old, like back in the day.
Yeah.
Zombie Horde, Light Sworn structure, more good ones. Masked Heroes. The Kyber structure like that had the ABCs.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good one. This person has like all of them. They say hard to choose, but they've literally got like 10 of them on their shelf. They've got Zombie Horde here. They've got Soul Burner. They've got the Shadal Showdown. I mean, just a ton of them. More Shadals, more Dark World, Fire Kings.
Structure deck after my heart.
Right. Dragon's Roar. This one says that it's a toss-up between the Wave of Light structure deck, which was the fairy one that released Eva, and Lost Sanctuary. We got a couple of Dark Emperors, or Emperor of Darkness, which was the Caius structure deck. Not Caius, not the original one. The new one.
Yeah.
Mechanized Madness, the Machina structure deck. More Fire, Zombie Horde, Cyber Dragons. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
And we had, of course, Shiggy's replied. She said Agents. So
Great structure deck.
and all those replies were just from Twitter. Let's go to the Discord server.
Mm-hmm.
So the Egyptian God decks from this summer because they got them into the game in the first place. Awesome. Then
Gotta love to hear it because that Regeki is a great card, especially if your opponent isn't expecting it.
Right. And even better, the Harpy's Feather Duster.
Yeah.
Then we got in order starter deck Joey, Dragon's Rampage, and Chaos Dragon structure deck. I remember you saying you had fond memories of the Chaos Dragon one. And here's one that says Sunny and Caleb already both talked about my two favorites, Top in a Box Agents and Chaos Dragon. And then honorable mention is the Dragoonity one that you needed to buy a bunch of Hidden Arsenal to actually make it playable.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Mm-hmm. And here's some Layer of Darkness. Starter deck Pegasus. That's the first reply we've had of that. And then we had an agreement on the structure deck Pegasus. So, wow, just so much nostalgia just hitting you right. Just, man, reading through those replies,
Yeah.
I couldn't help but think back. And I'm just like, oh my goodness. All of these are just great memories. So that will bring us, though, into our new podcast question of the day for today's episode, which is, what card do you just loathe? What card, when you see it, just invokes this feeling of just hatred? So what card do you hate the most?
Specifically toward the card, not the player.
Right.
But we're also excluding Dragoon and Mystic Mine.
Those seemed like layups, to be completely honest.
Yeah, so excluding those two.
Right. So we want to know from you, what card do you absolutely hate the most? What card do you hate to see? Except for Dragoon and Mystic Mine, those are cheating. Because everybody hates those.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure even people who play them dislike them.
Yes, probably. I mean, just about everybody. So, I think that will wrap us up for today, though. So we want to take a moment to thank, of course, again, all of our patrons for supporting the podcast. Thank you to everyone in our Discord for giving us great replies, giving us great feedback, and just being active and talking all the time. Thank you to everybody that followed us on Twitter at Top Cut Podcast. Like I said, go there, get your newest reactions. Thank you to Team Darkarm Dealings for being a friend of the channel. Please, everybody, go follow Team Darkarm Dealings on YouTube. The link will be in the description below. And thank you again to ETB Games for being our sponsor. That's all I've got for today, everybody. Have a good day.
Take care, everybody.